So, around Black Friday, me and my dad went to Cycle Gear. Picked up this license plate message reader for about 20, maybe 25-ish bucks. And thought, hey, it's cool. It adds visibility to my bike. I'll buy it and I'll put it on. Now, fast forward about 4 or 5 months-ish, and I'm finally ready to install it. But since I've had it for so long, I've opened it and closed it so many times I've actually lost the instructions. I'm pretty sure I can install it pretty easily. You know, it's just 3 wires. How hard can it be? We'll be going on this little bike right here, a Honda CB250 Nighthawk. Now, time to get started. The first thing I'll be doing is I'll be taking it off and putting it on the bike and mocking it up. Once I do that, then I'll know how to proceed from there. So now that it's mocked up, I can get on to figuring out this wiring. Now nothing is tightened in or anything like that, it's just the point where I can figure this stuff out, route the wiring, and do all the other stuff. Now as you can see here, we have 2 wires labeled 12 volt, 1 wire labeled ground. Simply speaking, the ground will go to the ground on the taillight socket. The red 12 volt wire will go to the taillight wire, and the green 12 volt will go to the brake light wire. It might not make sense now, but it'll make perfect sense in a couple minutes. I'm going to route these underneath the fender, pull them up under the seat, and see if I can splice it into there. Maybe I'll even cut off all this extra wire. Actually, quite a lot of wire that they provide. And then the seat, which with this bike is extremely simple. There we go, I can pull it right off, which I will do in a moment. Just a heads up, from this point on there's actually a lot of missing footage because I recorded this video well over a year ago and I just barely found this on the hard drive of my computer. But as you can see at this point, I've actually decided to drill a hole through the fender and then route it into a taillight capsule by drilling another hole. Originally I was just going to try and sneak the wire around and not try and drill anything or make any permanent modifications, but that plan didn't last too long. The more observant of you out there will probably already have noticed that the fairing of the bike has been removed and is currently lying on the floor. To take a fairing off on a Honda CB250 Nighthawk is extremely easy. All you gotta do is take off the 10mm bolts on the back, there's 2 of them, and then pop the little plastic pieces out of their rubber grommets, and then it just comes right off. So to connect the license plate frame wiring into the wiring of the stock Honda loom, I used splice connectors. They're these tiny little blue pieces that have a small piece of metal in them that once you close them will cut through the insulation of the wiring and actually make a connection. They work pretty well except for the times when the connection comes loose and they're a little fiddly for them to get into. But once I worked through everything, got everything to be reliably connected, they actually work quite well and they've stood up pretty well over the past year and a half now. We're now coming to the end of the installation. I've sorted out through all the electrical gremlins that we've had. I've put the rear fairing back on and the seat back on. All I'm doing now is just snugging down the bolts for the license plate frame, and I'll show you a test clip of how everything works at the end. So just to reiterate, I've had this license plate message center frame on my motorcycle for about a year now, and I haven't had any issues with it so far. None of the LEDs have burnt out and all the connections have stayed solid. So right now I'll just go over the operation of the frame and things like that. As you can see, when you press the brake or pull the brake levers, and when the brake light lights up, the frame goes full red on all the LEDs. It only lasts for a few seconds, but it's enough to let people know that you're slowing down, almost like a second brake light, which I think is pretty cool. Then it goes back to displaying your
message that you want to show. And in this case, I'm displaying my YouTube URL. Now, when it comes to programming the license plate frame, for that you are going to want to read the instructions. It's actually extremely complicated, and you have to use this remote, and it took me hours to actually figure it out because I didn't have the instructions. So for you guys, I'm going to recommend don't lose the instructions. Just read that, and I can't remember how to do it. It's been over a year. I don't even have the remote anymore. And as you can see, both my turn signals work fine, no flashing. I just thought I'd add that in there. I want to make a YouTube video addressing the no flash or the hyper flash situation that a lot of you guys face. I'll do that later. But for the rest of the video, I'm just going to leave you with exhaust notes, maybe for like 2-3 minutes so you can hear the bike. I have you on exhaust mod. I'll do another video on that later. I'm also going to be doing a video about getting the bike back to riding condition after a whole winter of sitting outside or in a garage, because you can see that this bike's been sitting so long that it's actually puffing white smoke from having old fuel inside of it. So yeah, if you like what you see, just subscribe for more.